Chapter 51. She was his woman, so he could sleep with her as he wished. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Mui Chen walked into the room slowly. He relied on the dim lighting emitted from the bedside lamp to look around. The view of the wicked woman sound asleep on the bed was fully on display to him. She hugged a huge pillow and slept on her stomach with her limbs spread out to her sides. Her sleeping pose seemed rather familiar. Mui Chen's gaze clouded over for a moment. He appeared quite gloomy as well. When the wicked woman had carried Tang Tang and got down from the car, for a very instant, he thought he saw a hint of sorrow in her eyes. It had made his chest tighten with guilt as well. He could not help doubting if he had gone too far with his choice of words spoken to her in the car. As a result, he had agreed to the wicked woman's audacious request to sleep in separate rooms. However, he found that he could not fall asleep after lying on the single bed in the study for a while. The more he thought about it, the more recalcitrant he felt. Why should he sleep on a cold, tiny bed alone? This was his room and this was his bed, whereas the person lying on his bed was his woman. He would sleep where he liked. At the thought of this, he leaped up. He found the keys to the master bedroom and entered the room. As a result, how dare the woman sleep so soundly in his bed? She did not even realize that he entered the room and was still sleeping like a piglet. The tiny bit of guilty conscience he had when he entered the room vanished completely at once. He walked to the bedside in long strides and stretched out his arm in an attempt to tug Luo Chenxi from the bed and wake her. He could not fall asleep regardless, so how did this woman deserve to sleep so soundly? In his conversation earlier, he had mentioned divorcing her later on. Was she not bothered by it at all? Was she not supposed to put sexy lingerie on immediately and head to the study to seduce him? Luo Chenxin, wake up. Mui Chen had just placed his hand on Luo Chenxi's shoulder when he saw the wicked woman lean her small face against his hand and nuzzle her cheeks against his palm. After snuggling him, the corners of her lips curved up ever so slightly, akin to a kitten that was being petted in its sleep. Mui Chen was stunned. His hand stopped moving at once while he squinted. You're not Tang Tang. Do you think that acting cute will work on me? He pinched Luo Chenxi's silky smooth cheek with his fingers. Wake up. However, Luo Chenxi was sleeping so soundly that even though she was disturbed, she showed no sign of waking up. Perhaps because Mui Chen got too close to her, Luo Chenxi felt rather warm, so she whined in her sleep and pushed the blanket that covered her body away. Mui Chen's gaze followed her movement and shifted down. All of a sudden, his entire body stiffened. He glared at the crystal-clear glow exposed underneath the thin pajamas. Luo Chenxi had an extremely fair complexion. Moreover, her skin was smooth and delicate like porcelain of the highest grade. It seemed as if her body was glowing despite the dim lighting. Mui Chen could not help recalling the sensation of her silky skin under his body from the night before yesterday in his mind. It had been pure ecstasy. His Adam's apple bobbed up and down when he realized that Luo Chenxi was wearing a thin pearl-white silken nightgown. Even though it was not a bare design, the material was semi-transparent on its own. The off-white color of the material was incapable of concealing anything. On the contrary, it added a vague trace of temptation. Mui Chen's body tensed instantaneously. It seems like I've misunderstood. You did change into your lingerie, huh? How are you so sure that I'd have come? His hand that was placed on Luo Chenxi's shoulder exerted strength and pinned her down against the soft bed. Soon after that, his bulky, muscular, and strong body pressed hers. Mui Chen pressed his lips against the silky lips of hers that he had yearned for the entire day, and he began kissing her passionately. Chapter 52. He is so handsome that you can't close your legs. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Luo Chenxi frowned ever so slightly when she was suddenly disturbed in her sleep. She struggled for a while in discomfort. Mui Chen raised his hand and pinched her pointy chin down to stabilize her face. He was going to take her by force. At the same time, his right hand had already made its way under her silk nightgown and caressed her smooth, delicate skin. Her complexion was the color of rare white jade, yet it was so delicate and fragile that a gentle pinch would leave a mark on her skin. Mu Yi-chen was drowning in her temptation gradually. Meanwhile, Luo Chenxi felt like she was a rabbit being roasted over a fire. She felt that the temperature around her rising and the air was getting stuffier to the point that it was hard to breathe. She struggled with all her might. However, she was firmly confined to the bed and could not budge at all. Go away. Stop biting me. Just as Mu Yi-chen kissed the sensitive area between her neck and her collarbone, Luo Chenxi suddenly moaned softly. In fact, she even stretched her arms out in an attempt to push the man pressing her body away. Mu Yi-chen's body stiffened for a short moment when he heard her moan. However, he soon resumed his previous activity and continued to hold the wicked woman in his arms. She was the woman that he had legally married. Even if he were to secretly legally kiss her in the middle of the night, no one could accuse him of committing a crime. Not even she could say anything. Luo Chenxi was struggling more and more intensely now. All of a sudden. Smack! A crisp sound was heard in the quiet room. Mu Yi-chen covered his cheek that had just been slapped by his wife. The shape of her palm could be clearly seen imprinted on his right cheek. His expression turned stormy at once. On the other hand, Luo Chenxi did not even realize that she had actually slapped young Master Mu in her sleep. She was still muttering under her breath, "Go away, you disgusting fly. So annoying. You're just as annoying as Mu Yi-chen." Mu Yi-chen clenched his teeth. "Luo Chenxin. You're just pretending to sleep, aren't you? Wake up." However, the wicked woman merely turned over in the bed. She hugged the pillow tightly and shifted in a new direction to sleep again. Her sleeping pose remained the same as before with her buttocks pointing to the ceiling. Mu Yi-chen was so furious that he almost could not catch his breath. The woman actually had the audacity to slap him and call him an annoying fly. Furthermore, she continued to sleep after she was done scolding him. Was she actually sleeping or was she just pretending? That it was still fine if she was pretending to be asleep. If she really was sleeping, then she would be scolding him in her dreams. Mu Yi-chen's huge palm squeezed Luo Chenxi's voluptuous buttocks as he said in a threatening manner, "Do you hear that? Turn over and look at me. Otherwise." Luo Chenxi breathed evenly without any change as if she was completely oblivious to his threat. "I'm really going to *CKU if you still pretend to sleep." Mu Yi-chen pinched her tender buttock cheek strenuously a few times. The suggestive action did not even manage to wake the wicked woman on the bed up. She did not shriek and jump up as he expected. On the contrary, Mu Yi-chen almost lost control of himself. "*MNU, woman." He lowered his head and took a glance at his stiff member, then retracted his hands as if he was caught on fire. Then, he turned around and charged into the bathroom. "*MNUT. How many times had he taken a cold shower since the woman had only married him for a few days? The next morning, Luo Chenxi covered her face in remorse as she sat on the huge bed. She realized that she had a wet dream the night before. Moreover, the man in her wet dream was the man that had spent the night in the study yesterday. She recalled his scorching hot caresses and his passionate kiss, and how she had heard his heavy breathing close to her ears. "Luo Chenxi, you have sinned. Have you forgotten how the man humiliated you yesterday? How dare you have such a dream? Is it because he's so handsome that you can't close your legs?" Chapter 53. Angry from yesterday until today. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meanwhile, someone opened the door and Luo Chenxi stiffened instantaneously. She could not be having such bad luck, could she? Could Mu Yi-chen have heard her confession again? Fortunately, it was just the soft little dumpling. Tang Tang made her way to the bedside and tilted her little head to the side. Miss, why haven't you gotten up yet? I'm waiting for you to have cake together with me. Tang Tang, I'm coming. You can have the cake first. Don't wait for me, Luo Chenxi said in a hurry. Tang Tang shook her head determinedly. No, I want to have it with you, Mississippi. Is it okay if you wait for me for a while? I'm coming over now. The little dumpling pouted her little lips and blinked her huge eyes as if she was pondering about something. After a while, she suddenly asked in puzzlement, Miss, didn't you sleep with Daddy? Cough, 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 cough. Luo Chenxi almost choked on her saliva. No, of course not. Why would you think of that? What happened the past 2 nights was an accident. I won't be sleeping with your daddy anymore. Tang Tang looked even more confused. Her tiny face scrunched up and she turned from a little dumpling to a little steamed bun. But, great-grandmother said that I must sleep on my own so that Miss can sleep with Daddy. Only then I'll get a baby brother or sister. Luo Chenxi was speechless. When did your great-grandmother say that? Yesterday, when you were cutting the fruits. Luo Chenxi looked up at the ceiling, feeling speechless. While she was just innocently cutting fruits, she had been entrapped by someone again. As she expected, the Mu family was a dangerous place that quashed her. Tang Tang sucked on a finger and asked in puzzlement, Miss, did I say something wrong? I was a good girl yesterday. I was alone and scared yesterday night. I wanted to look for you, but I didn't. Luo Chenxi hugged the little dumpling hastily upon listening to her words. Don't be scared, Tang Tang. If you are scared again at night, you can come to me. Your great-grandmother was wrong. I'll never sleep together with your daddy. The little dumpling was obviously very confused by the 2 different sets of conversations. However, she considered it for a moment and felt that the miss was right for certain, so she nodded obediently. Swiftly, Luo Chenxi washed up and took the little dumpling's hand to join her for breakfast downstairs. In the dining hall, the 3 Mu siblings were already seated properly. Luo Chenxi secretly stole a side glance at Mu Yichen. His handsome face was a welcoming sight to her as usual. He was dressed in a tailored suit that fully complemented his elegance and gracefulness. However, his eyes seemed to appear bloodshot and there were dark circles under his eyes. It was apparent that he had not slept very well last night. Of course, this did not tarnish his handsomeness at all. On the contrary, it added a wisp of decadent quality that he lacked on the usual days. Luo Chenxi pursed her lips secretly upon seeing that. Could Mu Yichen have been so angry from yesterday until now that it affected his sleep as well? He was the president of a huge company. He could not be that narrow-minded, could he? Obviously, the one that should have been mad was her. However, she was an open-minded person who did not only manage to sleep soundly but even had a dream. It had been a stress-releasing kind of dream. At the thought of this, she lost the courage to continue watching him anymore. She was already having dreams like that after looking at him for 2 days. She wondered how many sins she would commit if she were to look at him for a few more days. After all, Mu Yichen still loathed her that much. In consideration of her fragile life, it was best for her to stay away from him from now on. It would be even better if she stopped speaking to him. Luo Chenxi did not even greet him and just turned her head away coldly. This made the anger within Mu Yichen's heart grow even stronger. Mu Yiling watched their abnormal reaction and cracked into a mocking smile. He took it upon herself to greet her, "Good morning, sister." Law. Chapter 54. She had never even addressed her husband by name. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Luo Chenxi was a little surprised. Good morning. She thought that Mu Yichen's brother loathed her just as much as Mu Weiwei did. Sister. Law, don't be a stranger. Hurry up and take a seat. Elder brother is going to pity you if you keep standing there, said Mu Yiling smilingly. Second young master, you're too modest, Mu Yichen said in a hurry. Mu Yiling scoffed. Sister. Law, we are a family now. Why do you still address me as second young master? Elder brother is going to call me out for being disrespectful later. You can call me by my name. Luo Chenxi felt slightly uneasy, but second young master Mu was truly being too enthusiastic. She was too shy to reject him, so she responded, all right. I shall address you by your name. Thanks, second, Yiling. As soon as those words were spoken, Luo Chenxi suddenly felt as if the temperature in the room had plummeted abruptly. She felt cold and goosebumps erupted all over her skin. She turned around doubtfully just in time to meet Mu Yichen's tyrannical black eyes. Knowing that she was asking for trouble, she hastily looked somewhere else to avoid his gaze. Mu Yichen was in an even worse mood after seeing the wicked woman behave like a startled rabbit. His thin lips curled over his teeth in a sneer. I remembered reminding you that you should behave yourself according to your identity. Is it appropriate to address Yiling in such an intimate manner? She had never even addressed him, her husband by name, yet she had addressed her brother. Law like that. Was that appropriate? However, Luo Chenxi immediately recalled the conversation in the sports car yesterday when she heard Mu Yichen reminding her to behave herself. All at once, her expression dimmed. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't watch my words. Second young master, please don't misunderstand. Young master Mu and I are, not as you imagine. It's better for me to address you as second young master. Mu Yichen squeezed the coffee mug in his hand so hard in a rage that he almost shattered it. In the past, it had been fine for the wicked woman to address him with his full name. However, now she had even converted his address to young master Mu. Mu Yiling was confused as well. He took a few glances at his brother. What was happening? His older brother and sister. Law appeared rather intimate yesterday. He still assumed that his brother had changed for the better. How did he go back to his old self again today? In contrast, Mu Weiwei was overjoyed. She laughed aloud at once. Luo Chenxin, don't you get it now? In my brother's eyes, you don't have the right to address the Mu family members by our names because you're just an outsider to him. It's best that you know your place. Weiwei. Mu Yiling hastily interrupted his sister after noticing that she was trying to seek trouble again. Mu Weiwei failed to see the change in her older brother, but Mu Yiling could tell that the newlyweds had an unusual relationship. Yesterday night, he had witnessed his older brother leave the study at midnight and go into the master bedroom. Something must have happened during the night for their relationship to have turned into such a ghastly state. Mu Weiwei had been grounded for picking a fight with her sister. Law yesterday, yet she was seeking trouble again now. She would be in deep trouble if she were to offend her older brother. Mu Yiling quickly took a glance at his older brother once again. However, Mu Yichen's expression remained unchanged, which was out of her expectations. He continued to have his breakfast gracefully as if he was completely oblivious to their conversation. Exhilarated, Mu Weiwei glared at Mu Yiling. Bro, why are you so afraid of this woman? Who wouldn't know what kind of SL*T she is? Our Mu family has turned into the joke of the other powerful families because of her. Why won't you let me speak? Look, elder brother disciplined her earlier too. What's wrong with me adding a few more comments? Mu Yilong was almost driven to tears by his sister's foolishness. You. He wanted to continue to speak, but Mu Yichen abruptly stood up from his seat at this moment. Chapter 55. I'm not listening to the B*TCH's patter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mu Yiling was afraid that his older brother would disown his sister, so he chimed in hastily in an attempt to appeal for mercy. Elder brother, Weiwei is still young. None of them would have thought that Mu Yichen did not even take a glance at them before he announced coldly, I'm done with breakfast. Then, he turned around and went upstairs into the study. Done with breakfast. Mu Yiling looked at the plate he left behind and saw that there was still quite a lot of food on it. He did not even manage to finish his coffee. He had not slept well yesterday and only took a few bites for breakfast today. Would his older brother faint at work later? Upon seeing her older brother leave, Mu Weiwei was even smugger. She glared at Mu Yiling. Look, bro. Even the elder brother is too lazy to pay attention to that woman, but you're still nagging me all the time. I'm doing this for the Mu family. It's just better for me to drive this woman away with my scolding so that it saves elder brother the trouble of divorcing her. Mu Yiling shook his head helplessly as he looked at her. They were obviously from by the same mother, yet he was the only sibling with adequate intelligence and emotional quotient in the family. His older brother lacked emotional quotient while his sister lacked intelligent quotient. Sigh, the family can never survive without me. Bnoel.m. Since Luo Chenxi was sitting there at the table, she could naturally hear Mu Weiwei's insult at her. However, she was constantly chanting, I'm not listening to the B*TCH's patter, I'm not listening to the B*TCH's patter, in her heart as she completely disregarded Mu Weiwei. She minded her own business and had her breakfast while occasionally feeding the little dumpling a few mouthfuls. It felt as if Mu Weiwei's verbal attack was shot into a pile of cotton. Since the other person refused to join the quarrel, she lost interest after continuing the ambiguous insult for a while. Tang Tang held a rabbit ear-shaped spoon and carved out the strawberry cake on her plate scoop by scoop. Luo Chenxi learned that a majority of young children would still need to be fed by parents at 3 years old, yet the little dumpling was already very good at feeding herself. She had done very well feeding herself strawberry pudding at Grandmother Mu's house yesterday too. She certainly lived up to the reputation of being a little foodie. Tang Tang polished off a large piece of cake in a few minutes. She let out a soft burp, then she got down from the high chair by herself. Luo Chenxi stretched out her hands to help her in fear that she might fall. Tang Tang, be careful. Tang Tang seized the opportunity to wrap her arms around Luo Chenxi's thigh. Miss, I'm going to be late for kindergarten. Are you already attending kindergarten, Tang Tang? Luo Chenxi was rather surprised. Tang Tang was 3.5 years old now. It was already time for her to attend kindergarten, but Luo Chenxi was under the assumption that Mu Yichen would probably not allow his little princess to go to kindergarten due to the level of his overwhelming love for her. Mu Yiling chimed in with a smile upon hearing their conversation, sister.in.law, elder brother doesn't want Tang Tang to attend kindergarten at all, but Tang Tang insists on going. Huh? Why's that so? About this. Mu Yiling smiled sinisterly and was about to speak when Tang Tang suddenly let go of Luo Chenxi's thigh and ran to him. She stomped on his foot strenuously. Ouch! Tang Tang, how could you stomp on me? I'm your favorite second uncle. Mu Yiling screamed in agony. Tang Tang did not even bother to take a glance at him. She trotted back to Luo Chenxi's side after she was done with her punishment. She hugged Luo Chenxi's thigh and peered up. Miss, send me to the kindergarten, please. Luo Chenxi was all confused. However, she forgot about everything else as soon as she saw the little dumpling's huge, googly eyes. She bent over and picked her up. Alright, I'll send you. No. Mu Weiwei suddenly vocalized and interrupted her. She stood up and walked to Luo Chenxi's side quickly before stretching her arms out to Tang Tang. Tang Tang, don't go out with the evil woman. She's going to bully you. Come over here. Let Aunt take you to kindergarten. However, her hands had barely grazed Tang Tang's clothes when the little dumpling moved away. No. You were scolding Miss earlier. I hate you. I want Miss to send me to school. Chapter 56. The little dumpling protected her without the slightest hesitation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Tang Tang, what did you say? How dare you side with the bad woman and scold me? Mu Weiwei looked hurt. Tang Tang used to love her the most in the past. How could she say that she hated her now? It was all Luo Qinxin's fault. The woman must have used some vulgar trick to coax their cute, naive little princess and provoke Tang Tang to dislike her. The more she thought about it, the angrier Mu Weiwei felt. She pointed at Luo Chenxi and scolded her, hand Tang Tang over now. I'll never allow Tang Tang to leave the house with you. Also, don't think that you can coax her with your sweet words and conceal your true self. It's useless for you to keep pretending. Let go of Tang Tang right away. Mu Weiwei stretched out her arms once again in preparation to snatch Tang Tang from Luo Chenxi's arms by force. Meanwhile, a loud smack was heard. Tang Tang slapped the back of Mu Weiwei's hand with her tiny palm and pushed it away at once. Mu Weiwei glared at her incredulously. The little princess, who had always been well-behaved, had actually struck her. The little dumpling's pink chubby face was filled with rage. She widened her eyes and scowled at Mu Weiwei before she said loudly, "You're not allowed to scold Miss anymore. I won't talk to you again if you keep scolding her." She spread out her arms and hugged Mu Chenxi with a protective stance. Tang Tang's tiny figure was utterly incapable of shielding Luo Chenxi despite her best efforts to spread her arms out. However, Luo Chenxi felt warm and fuzzy in her heart and her eyes reddened with tears when she saw the little dumpling's furious look. She thought that no one else would have ever defended her anymore after Lu Wenjun got sick. On top of that, she did not expect that the soft, adorable little dumpling would stand on her side with such determination without the slightest hesitation. Mu Weiwei was stunned for a long while before she recovered from the shock. Her face flushed scarlet in rage. "Tang Tang, you, come to me now." Luo Chenxi hugged the little dumpling tightly and guarded Tang Tang in her arms. She would not let Mu Weiwei touch the girl. She met Mu Weiwei's raging gaze and said softly, "Lady Mu, if I don't take Tang Tang to the kindergarten, who's going to take her?" "You." Without the slightest hesitation, Mu Weiwei insisted, "Me, of course. I'm her aunt. It's only rightful for me to send her to kindergarten for her safety." Luo Chenxi sized Mu Weiwei up for a while before she suddenly chuckled. "I don't think you're doing this for Tang Tang, are you?" What do you mean? "Miss Mu, the outfit you're wearing is from SL's newest collection, isn't it? It was just unveiled in the fashion show yesterday and you're already wearing it today. You truly live up to the reputation of being the precious daughter of the most powerful family in the country. However, I recall that you were grounded by young Master Mu, weren't you? You're dressed so beautifully to head out, could you be planning to use the opportunity of taking Tang Tang to kindergarten to sneak out for a date?" Mu Weiwei was obviously meticulously dressed and ready to head out today. The two Mu brothers were both men, so they were very negligent when it came to matters like these, so they failed to observe their sister's unusual attire. However, Luo Chenxi could see it in one glance. Mu Weiwei's expression stiffened at once. A wisp of guilty conscience flashed in her eyes for a moment. "Hey, why are you making blind accusations? I enjoy dressing up to send Tang Tang to the kindergarten. Is that okay with you?" Luo Chenxi nodded. "Sure, you can, of course. However, if your older brother were to find out that you disobeyed his order, perhaps you'll be grounded for a few more months." Mu Weiwei clenched her teeth in rage. How dare the despicable woman threaten her? Still, she would perhaps end up being grounded for the entire year if Luo Chenxi were to complain to her older brother. Mu Weiwei could only watch as Luo Chenxi picked Tang Tang up and left the house. Upon witnessing this scene, Mu Yiling was left speechless. His sister-in-law appeared soft-spoken and weak, and with Tang Tang, they made a perfect pair of rabbits. However, she was actually quite remarkable. Was his older brother capable of handling his sister-in-law with his low emotional quotient? Chapter 57. Not even God can save you when you involve our sister. In law. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. When Luo Chenxi and Tang Tang left, Mu Weiwei hurled the pillows on the sofa to vent her pent-up anger. Mu Yiling yawned lazily. Alright, she's gone. It's useless for you to stay mad anyway, so you might as well prepare to go to school, oh, elder brother. From his peripheral vision, he saw that Mu Yichen had walked out from the study and was standing in the corridor of the second floor without them noticing it. His older brother was gazing down at them from a great height. Mu Weiwei's heart was beating wildly. Could her older brother have heard her conversation with the despicable woman earlier? Mu Weiwei, you're really bold these days. I've grounded you, yet you're still trying to sneak out. Mu Yichen's cold voice floated down from above. Mu Weiwei had a hopeless expression on her face. Oh no, her older brother had heard that for real. Did he not run into the study intentionally to avoid the despicable woman because he did not wish to see her anymore? When did he come out from the room and eavesdrop on so much of their conversation? Elder brother, I didn't have the slightest intention to sneak out. Don't listen to Luo Chenxin's blind accusations. Can you trust the words of a woman like her? Elder brother, are you out of your mind? Mu Weiwei attempted to make an excuse for herself. Immediately, Mu Yiling could not help covering his face in despair. Oh no, my foolish sister. It's fine if you wish to explain yourself, but why do you have to involve our sister? In law. Not even God can save you now. Just as expected, Mu Yichen's gaze grew more piercing. His eyes swept across Mu Weiwei. Why? Are you still trying to fool me again? Since you won't listen to me when I speak to you properly, then your credit card account will be frozen for 2 months from today onwards. I'll stop giving you your allowance as well. What? Mu Weiwei turned pale with fear. Elder brother, don't do this to me, please. It's my bad and I won't do it again next time. Elder brother, don't freeze my credit card account, please. Since young, she had always enjoyed spending as much money as she liked and had never hesitated when buying something. After all, she had an older brother who was very capable of making money. All the money she spent was like chicken feed to her. If she was barred from using her credit card from today onward, just thinking of it felt like a nightmare. However, Mu Yichen made the decision to teach his sister a lesson. He completely ignored her plea and went out after grabbing his coat. Luo Chenxi carried Tang Tang and got into the back seat of the sports car. She was still thinking about how Tang Tang had held her to protect her earlier. Tang Tang was truly too adorable. What a sweet child. Luo Chenxi would even smile in her dreams if she truly had a daughter like Tang Tang. However, even if Tang Tang was not her own, she would still love the little dumpling like her own child. Noticing that Luo Chenxi was quiet, the little dumpling stretched out a chubby finger to poke her face. Miss, are you sad? No, I'm not sad, Luo Chenxi answered hastily. The little dumpling did not believe her, so she wrapped her arms around her neck and said in a childish tone, Tang Tang loves you. I'll hit Aunt if she bullies you. Luo Chenxi felt like weeping, but she cracked into a smile at last. Alright, don't fight with your aunt. Don't worry, she can't bully me. It was apparent that Mu Weiwei was not a scheming girl but was just very childish. She was also very stubborn and hard-headed. Nevertheless, Luo Chenxi did not take Mu Weiwei's threats to heart. Meanwhile, the sports car stopped, and the driver, old Lu, reminded her from the front, Young mistress, young lady Mu, we've arrived at the kindergarten. Luo Chenxi looked out of the window quickly. It was the Silver Shine Kindergarten, the most expensive Ivy League kindergarten in City T. It was said that the annual tuition fee was over $1 million. The little dumpling snuggled against Luo Chenxi's neck, unwilling to part ways. Luo Chenxi was about to carry her out from the car, but who would have thought that Tang Tang's eyes would light up suddenly after taking a glance out of the window. She loosened her grip on Luo Chenxi, opened the door, and ran out of the car. Luo Chenxi was caught off guard, so she did not manage to stop Tang Tang in time. She panicked as she watched the little dumpling run at full speed with her short legs. "Come back here, Tang Tang." Tang Tang covered dozens of steps before she suddenly stopped and pounced at a boy who was about 5 to 6 years old. Chapter 58. Where did she inherit her fondness for good-looking guys from? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Brother Xiaoxian. Tang Tang's soft, childlike voice was heard as the little dumpling slammed into the boy at once. He was obviously stunned for a moment, but he turned around soon and caught her. Tang Tang's chubby cheeks were flushing pink. She smiled so widely that her dimples could be seen. She blinked her huge eyes and stood on tiptoe to whisper something into the little boy's ear. The boy's handsome little face blushed a faint red instantaneously. Luo Chenxi widened her eyes so large that her eyeballs were almost falling out of her eye sockets. What was happening? Was that her little dumpling's friend? She had actually abandoned her miss and only wanted to run to see the little boy. Luo Chenxi was hesitating if she should go over and take her little dumpling back. She had no idea who that little boy was either. If Mu Yichen were to learn that a little boy had abducted his little princess, Luo Chenxi wondered how mad would he get. Young mistress, the young gentleman, Xiaoxian, is the son of young Master Bo. He has been playing with the young lady since they were little. Don't worry, old Lu explained upon seeing Luo Chenxi's puzzled look. Luo Chenxi was stunned for a moment. Young Master Bo's son. Is young Master Bo married? Young master of the Bo family was known as Bo Tingyan. He was one of Mu Yichen's good friends who was mentioned in the information Luo Anghua had given her. However, Bo Tingyuan had always been ranked as the top 3 golden bachelors in the tabloids. Luo Chenxi had never heard of him being married though. Now, she was looking at his son that was so grown up. Old Lu said, I think young Master Bo has been married since 6 years ago. However, I've never seen young Mistress Bo before either. Luo Chenxi raised her brows in astonishment. This was beyond her expectations. Even if it was a hidden marriage, there must be the slightest leak of information on that, would there not? However, she felt relieved upon finding out that this was the young grandson of the Bo family. The little dumpling whispered something softly to the boy once again. Because of her height, Tang Tang stood on tiptoe when she spoke to the boy. Upon noticing that, the boy took the initiative to bend forward and move closer to her. The little dumpling chattered for a long while as the boy listened to her patiently. At last, she suddenly tugged the boy's sleeve and led him to the sports car while bouncing about. Tang Tang, slow down. The boy furrowed his brows. The 2 children ran to Luo Chenxi together. Miss, Mississippi. The little dumpling raised her head and introduced the boy to Luo Chenxi as if she was presenting a precious treasure. This is brother Xiaoxian. He's the best-looking little brother in our kindergarten. Luo Chenxi was feeling rather sad for some unknown reason after seeing the 2 children talking to each other so intimately. However, she could not help being bewildered for a moment upon hearing Tang Tang's words. What sort of introduction was that? Had her little dumpling run to pounce on the boy just because he was good-looking? Where did she inherit her fondness for good-looking guys from? However, the little Bo Xiaoxian was genuinely quite good-looking. He had bright eyes and clearly defined brows. He looked even more beautiful than a girl. Moreover, he did not look that similar to young Master Bo, so Bo Xiaoxuan's mother must be a beauty. The little dumpling's vision was quite impressive. Soon afterward, Tang Tang began to introduce Luo Chenxi to the boy. Brother Xiaoxian, this is Mississippi. Mississippi. Bo Xiaoxian looked confused. Luo Chenxi also felt that it was too difficult to understand the introduction. She was about to explain when the little dumpling nodded in all apparent seriousness. Then, she added loudly, she's the miss that sleeps with my daddy. Luo Chenxi almost vomited blood from listening to the explanation. What did Tang Tang mean by the miss that sleeps with her daddy? Even though Tang Tang had caught her lying in the same bed as Mu Yichen twice, those had just been accidents. It was apparent that Bo Xiaoxian was an intelligent child. He widened his little mouth in astonishment for a moment before he reacted to the situation. Hello, Auntie Mu. Chapter 59. Ha! He's shy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though he had no idea why Tang Tang would address her mommy as Miss, he would not be mistaken if he were to address her as Auntie Mu. Auntie Mu. Luo Chenxi was embarrassed. Hello, Xiaoxian. Please take care of my little princess, she said while beaming. Tang Tang looked at Luo Chenxi, then looked back at the little boy in delight. After both of them greeted one another, she announced loudly, Miss, we are going to school now. When I'm home, tell me if Daddy is still bullying you. I'll beat him up for you. Luo Chenxi was at a loss about whether to laugh or to cry. It felt that their roles had been reversed. Should she not have said that to her daughter instead? Upon saying that, the little dumpling grabbed Bo Xiaoxuan's hand and tugged him to run toward the entrance of the kindergarten. She muttered under her breath, We're late. We're going to be late. Bo Xiaoxian did not expect Tang Tang to suddenly hold his hand. He immediately felt as if the weather was getting warmer when he felt the little dumpling's soft little hand hold his. His face blushed gradually until his ears turned pink as well. Luo Chenxi's eyes lit up upon witnessing the scene. Ha! He's shy. It seemed like her little dumpling had not been abducted by a boy. On the contrary, the young grandson of the Bo family was being abducted by Tang Tang. Luo Chenxi returned to the Mu residence after sending the little dumpling to kindergarten. At present, Mu Weiwei was already at school while Mu Yichen and Mu Yiling were at the office. On the other hand, Mu Yichen's parents were constantly traveling the world after having passed the company to Mu Yichen a few years ago, so they were barely at home most of the time. Mu Yichen's parents came back once on the day Luo Chenxi married Mu Yichen and left the very next day. Luo Chenxi became relaxed instantly upon realizing that she had the house all to herself. When Mu Yichen isn't here, even the air feels, cough cough. She was halfway stretching herself when she suddenly remembered that she had been caught red-handed by Mu Yichen the last time she said this. She stopped her action and turned her head to look around in a hurry. Fortunately, Mu Yichen was really at the office. Luo Chenxi went upstairs in a rush and took her laptop out of her luggage. She did not bring many items from the Luo family over. Everything had fit into a piece of luggage. Other than a few cheap outfits, there were her laptop and graphics tablet. She turned the laptop on and heard a beep that reminded her that she had new unread emails. Has SL Holdings sent over the itinerary of the semi-finals that quickly? She clicked on the attachment file to open it hastily. According to the itinerary, a total of 15 designers had been chosen for the semi-finals. They must complete the production of 10 outfits and accessories within the next month. Moreover, their end products would be displayed at the SL Holdings showroom. A professional judging panel would be tasked to choose the products of 10 designers and decide on the candidates that qualified for the finals. Ultimately, the finals would be an extraordinarily grand fashion show. The 10 designers' outfits would be showcased in the fashion show during the country's Fashion Week. At the same time, powerful influencers from the fashion world, famous celebrities, and distinguished socialites would be invited to the fashion show. The fashion show would be cast live to television networks and the internet where people could vote for 3 winners. Luo Chenxi could not help frowning after reading the itinerary of the competition. It was a huge expenditure to produce 10 ready-to-wear outfits by hand and prepare the accessories. The best quality fabrics would need to be used in order to portray the perfect effect of the sketched designs. Furthermore, the fabrics were extremely costly too. There were accessories as well. Even if she were to use the cheapest glass and plastic to make the accessories in lieu of real pearls and jewels, those would still need to be customized, which would be an expensive procedure as well. Luo Chenxi prepared a list and calculated the cost. The more she calculated, the more she felt like she was about to have a mental breakdown. The cost of an outfit is at least $20,000. 10 sets will cost me $200,000. How am I going to get $200,000? However, her limited budget was not the biggest problem of all to her. Chapter 60. If you don't want to come home, don't come back then. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The most unnerving part was clearly stated on the itinerary. The 10 ready-to-wear outfits required in the semi-finals were 5 male outfits and 5 female outfits. Luo Chenxi almost cursed aloud when she saw the statement. She was genuinely quite gifted in fashion design but was only limited to womenswear. On the other hand, she was completely untalented in the designing of menswear. When she had still been studying in the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y, she would always come last in her class whenever she needed to design menswear. Had it not been for her full score in womenswear, perhaps she would have dropped out from the class due to her poor performance. Unfortunately, there had been no need to wait until that incident happened before she was. Suddenly, her phone rang. She took a glance and saw that it was an unknown number. "Cutie from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts, do you still remember me?" Luo Chenxi felt chills run down her spine as soon as she heard the jestful voice on the other end of the line. "C. Chief Sheng. How did you get my number? It's written there on your information form. How would that be difficult for me to find out?" You're right. Have you received the itinerary? Have you thought about which design you're going to use?" Luo Chenxi became energized as soon as she heard Sheng Yu's question. She could not refrain from complaining. "Chief Sheng, why is the itinerary for this year's competition different? I clearly recall that the designers in the previous competitions were given the choice of either menswear or womenswear in the past. Why do we have to do both this time?" Sheng Yu answered slowly, "Oh, I changed the rules." "Huh? Why did you do that? That doesn't make sense," she expressed her objection. "It's simple. That's because among the participants this year, some people's portfolios only consist of womenswear. I think that's irritating. A real designer should be able to master the production of different outfits. How is it justifiable if a designer can't design menswear? Am I right?" Sheng Yu's tone of speech sounded like he was asking for a beating. "Right. Right, my *SS. If Sheng Yu had been there with her, Luo Chenxi would have wanted to send him to heaven on the spot. Sheng Yu had never even seen the portfolios of the other participants, so how would he have known that the others were designing menswear or womenswear? He only saw hers. Thus, he had especially changed the rule with the purpose of making her suffer. "Anyhow, I look forward to your performance." Sheng Yu chuckled proudly before he hung up. "You're a devil." Sheng Yu is a devil. Luo Chenxi felt like weeping but had no tears. She felt depressed for a long while before she forced herself to bounce back. That was the rule of the competition and she could not possibly change it anymore. "It's just a few sets of menswear, right? I can get it done for sure." Luo Chenxi clenched her fists. She took out a sketchbook and sat in the corner of the balcony in the master bedroom before she began to sketch attentively. What a waste that she had held such high hopes, but the reality turned out to be so disappointing. It was her weakness, so it remained to her weakness regardless. The entire morning passed and the afternoon flew by as well. By nightfall, Luo Chenxi still had not managed to produce a satisfactory menswear design at all. She went berserk and the whole floor was covered in scrunched-up sketch papers. The sky got darker and darker, but she failed to notice that because she was facing the laptop. The only thought in her mind was to draw the sketch conscientiously. Meanwhile, the door of the master bedroom was opened. Mu Yichen walked into the room with long strides and a tensed expression. He removed his tie and tossed it onto the bed. The master bedroom was not lit, so it was very obvious that his namesake wife had yet to come home. That Ned woman. I warned her 2 days ago, yet she has the audacity to stay out until so late and not come home. Mu Yi-chen was furious. Must I head out and capture her every day? Yesterday, he especially made the trip to pick Luo Chenxi up before both of them went home together afterward. However, he had not picked her up today. Did the wicked woman disappear again? If you don't want to come home, don't come back then. Don't think that I'm going to pick you up. He raised his hands and removed the buttons on his shirt gradually. He took his shirt off and tossed it onto the ground. Then, he stretched out his hands to remove his belt. He was halfway through when his brows suddenly furrowed for a moment. He glanced toward the balcony that was shielded by the curtains. It seemed like someone was there.